Hello world, it's Angelot, and I want to try to create this, or recreate this block that I made a while ago in an observable notebook. And what I want to be able to do is to sort of trigger that effect, the effect of kind of exploding it and it transitioning back, as well as maybe some other visual effects, maybe with my keyboard. Right now this happens every time I click, but after playing with the OP1 and looking more into synthesizers and that kind of thing, just want to see what it would feel like to make a kind of synthesizer-like interface to play with a few effects, also so that I can dynamically live play the effects to the beat that EJ made for me for my intro graphic. So hopefully it all comes together. What I'm going to do now though is learn how to do this in Observable using something called generators, which I asked on the D3 Slack the best way to make animations in Observable. And I was pointed to generators. I'll show you there's this notebook that I'll be learning from, as well as this animation loops, which says that but this one's by Mike Bostock, also that says that the generator loop is the best way to do it in Observable. So we're going to try to figure that out. And this is a new notebook I made, and it's going to be Angelot's Intro Synth is the title. So from here, we will figure things out. So the first thing I need to figure out is this generator loop, right? So I want, over time, if I hit a button, a value to go up, and then it will decay back down to where it started, right? Because like this is sort of, think about it as like the randomness goes all the way and then everything settles back down. But if we also wanted to make a different button, maybe increase the size of all the rectangles a little bit and then they decay back down, that might be fun too. And you know, this may get a little confusing at times. I know I'm confused thinking about it, because I'm gonna want stuff to decay, but maybe decay on some kind of curve, like a bounce, right? Like that, this effect, because it's actually a force simulation, it bounces kind of naturally, like the particle goes all the way out, it tries to get back here, it gets pushed by the other ones, so it gets pushed here, and then it tries to go back, and it kind of, until it finally settles, right? All right, so let's start by copying a little bit of code from here. Let's see, so I probably want to, so this one's just doing tick every second. This is increasing in number every second. Let's try using this one. So, and I can say this is, I'll still call it tick, let's say. So then if I say tick somewhere else, it'll be the same, right? And what I probably want to do is have this be, so if I'm going 60 frames a second, then 1000 milliseconds divided by 60, 16.6. So 1 second in milliseconds. So this is in milliseconds, 1 second. So let's do that. So this is going to be 60 frames a second. But I also want to do I is equal to I plus 1. But maybe, let's see if this works. Modulus by 60. So every time it gets above 60, it should go back down to 0. And so this is kind of useful if you want things to cycle, or if it was an angle, you might do 360. Oops, I have to re-execute it. So if this was going around a circle, it would go smoothly around there. So let's use that for a little bit. Now, the other thing I want to do is I want to decay. Well, I didn't actually finish reading this page, so it's talking about resolving values. All right, got to yield stuff. Okay, generators and yield patterns. All right, we're probably going to end up using this view of thing because I'm going to want to yield a value when I click or press a key. Well, here's use a sine wave. This one's the oscillate, similar to the modulus thing I did. All right. So what can we do here? Let's say we have alpha equals 10. And let's have a second tick. And we'll say alpha well, let's say 100. Also, I think I'm going to say FPS equals 16.67 as a shortcut. And then we could change this dynamically if we wanted to for some reason. Also, you don't have to type 16.67 all the time. Does this work? Minus minus I. And then, let's see, I equals, excuse me, I is less than 0, 0 else minus minus I. Okay, now it's going to bounce less than or equal to 0. Okay, so that goes down to 0, it stays that way. If we rerun alpha, it's going to go back down to 0. So that's kind of cool. So now what we want to do is create some kind of canvas. Canvas. And let's see. Let's say, I think it's canvas 2D. There's canvas. Okay. This canvas.context. Get context 2D. And we can do, oh, I'm going to have to require and on click. Let's see, where was that view of thing? So it's the value. So then here, if we say canvas, then we have to remember there's something. I don't know if it's custom generator, multi-value inputs. We're probably going to want to have this. Okay, interesting. The value can have an array. So I'm not sure if the click is working. Okay, that's working. So we set the value. I think there's also so one of the ways I try to figure this stuff out is looking for the examples, but I think inputs, I know there's like a tutorial, maybe it's this one. Not inline inputs. Well, I'll just take one here. So we have all these things. Let's see. This doesn't look like it's doing it the observable way. I want no, this is abstracted away. I would like something like this. What I'm looking for is, I think there's some way to, I was using some kind of, there's some way to trigger an event that input has changed. It's just an extension of that. Export from here. I want this original one. And here's the function. It goes like one of these world map coordinates. Let's see. Dispatch events. I think that's what we need here. There we go. New, it was something. All right. So if we said instead of alpha being defined here, we say alpha is defined here. Then, well, okay, here's the problem. If I want to use the tick value, or tick 2, let's say I have ctx.begin path. I'm going to make a circle, add width over 2, say height is 500. Let's say it's black. 0 map. 2. Five arguments. Oh, the radius is probably here. Okay. So let's say it's 10 plus tick 2. All right, so now we have a circular definition. So what we're going to need to do is have, let's say, a much smaller canvas. And I want to do it this way. So alpha is an array like this. And this one will not have a circle in it. We might have buttons. Let's not make it a, let's make it an SPG. But let's make it much smaller. And this should be SVG as well. Okay. All right. So we don't need hello. We don't need any of this stuff. This one's just going to render. So, okay, we have our circle. Let's tick 2. So when we click this, that's exactly what we were hoping for. So, and so we could change the values, we could switch it up, we can make more generators like that. What I might do, I was thinking of doing a keyboard. I still want to do a keyboard event, but maybe I'll make 3. Let's see. SPG Selection, D3 to select SPG, and then select all, let's say rectangle, data SPG.value, enter append rect. Give them attributes. So the width, let's say it's 80. If I run this, oops, get one little rectangle there. I'm going to make the x a function of that, return I times, well, okay, so the rect width, let's say, is 80. So the rect width plus some padding of, I don't know, let's put another width between them. I'm going to make the y just 10 pixels. Okay, so they're spread out. And I'll also make this one rectangle over. All right, so now if I click on any one of them, what I can do is I can say svg.value I equals, let's say 100. I'll keep to that. So what we want to do down here is say, okay, what are the values of alpha? So if I click on that, okay. Oh, I'm clicking on this one now. Oops. So what I'm going to do is put this here, and I'm going to just comment this out. So if I click on this one, it should do that. If I click on this one, okay, I guess it's resetting. If I click on any of them, it's resetting all of them because it's not alpha that we're changing. I wonder. So there is a thing called mutable. So one thing we could think of is this sets the value, and this actually delays or subtracts from alpha itself instead of I. I'm not sure if that is a good idea or will work, but let's see if we can use our mutable values. Oh, okay. So, interesting. So we can change it. So I wonder if we did this instead of I. Well, maybe we should make it tick 3, huh? And we'll see alpha 0, alpha 0, alpha 0. All right. So that went to 0. So let's see if we can get this to work. It's going down. And if I change this one, it doesn't do anything. If I change that one. So this isn't updating in real time for some reason. But I bet if I do this, it will. No? Weird. All right. Well, I don't know why this one isn't updating in real time, but we don't really need to care about it right now anyway, because this works the way we expect. So let's say the, what else do we want to do? We could change the color of the circle. We could change the position. Let's say I want to, yeah, I'll make this go in the X direction, this go in the Y direction maybe. And Should probably make it simple at first. So let's say that we'll let x equal alpha, so it's going to be alpha 1. So we're going to have some kind of formula here. So if it's width over 2 is the center, so if we just add alpha 1, it'll go out 100 pixels and fade back. Let's just try that. Okay, so it's there. Oh yeah, but we need to do this for each one. So we're going to say that this is going to be radius. And so this is going to be radius. And we're going to do another one here. And I am going to hide these pieces of code here. We'll probably just get rid of this. Well, that's good to have as a reference. We don't need this here. This one we don't need anymore though. So I want radius, x position, and I'm going to have that be alpha 1 here. And see there, x went back down to 0. We're going to make a y position as well. Base that on alpha 2. All right, so we got our y position here. So y, oh, this should be x pos, y pos. All right, so. Okay, so y pos isn't working. It does seem to be, oh, it's because I'm not using y. Great. All right. Oh, and that should be height over 2. All right. So it is shooting down. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, and it goes down because as y gets bigger, it actually goes further down. So we could do a, I'm going to leave that open. I'm going to close that because I don't really care about that. Okay, so we're going to do minus y pos, and then yeah, it'll bounce up on the screen. All right, and so there's a couple of ways we could take this. One would be to do the bounce curve. I'm thinking of using D3 easing curves. I'll show you what I mean there. And then the other thing is it doesn't feel like the timing is right. Like I kind of want them to go faster, right? So I guess going faster is just a matter of changing the FPS. There is a, well, it's either that or the amount that we change it by, right? So if it's going from 0 to 1 or 0 to 100, we could just go 0 to 10, but then it would bounce less, but it's it would be decreasing faster. So I guess there's a few ways to mediate that. Let's do easing curve. The other thing is what I think will make things a little bit easier. So we just make everything go from 0 to 1, and then instead of this, it shouldn't be minus minus anyway, it should be minus. So if we do negative 0.1 And that's the other thing we could do. We could say decay is 0.01. And I'll subtract decay here. And this will also be subtracting decay. I know I'm using a weird ternary thing where setting alpha equal to, and then this is asking if this is less than or equal to 0, then just set it to 0. Otherwise, do this. Oh, decay. All right, so this should hopefully, okay, of course, it's going from 0 to 1, so we kind of want to scale stuff. And I'll define the scale here. And so that usually the default for us of a scale, the domain, is 0 to 1. I'm going to write it out just so that it's not implied. And we want the range to go from like back to 0 to 100. Or let's say this is the radius scale. So we'll say rate, and then this is the other thing. We can get rid of this 10. We can say r scale radius, and we can make this go from 10 to 100. So now when this goes back up, it gets big again. And right now these will only, bounce by 1 pixel, so you don't see anything. So let's do the same thing here. Copy paste this, and this will be x, and this will go back down to 0. But let's say make these even bigger. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. This is... We don't want to do it here. We want to do it on the X pause and the Y pause. So we're still centering it. No. Oh, that linear decay is very weird. So, all right. Let's then try. So I'm going to look up. Pretty sure it's going to be like a good D3E's tutorial. Using animations. Okay. So I think I want I know there's a bounce. Well, or elastic, that's right. I think I want elastic out. Well, let's try that. I'm not sure what t. Oh yeah, t is going to be the value that's from 0 to 1. And then I guess I'm not sure what period does. It makes it kind of slower. Amplitude, I guess. How much it bounces. All right, well, let's keep it at. So I'm going to say e is equal to d3 that this. So we want to ease the values, because this is going to take a value that's between 0 and 1 and modify it. Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, t. So okay, Not exactly what I had in mind. Let us try, first of all, making this period much longer. Oh, that's even slower. That's pretty crazy. Okay, so not what I was hoping for. I don't think this is going to be much better. I think also I'm going to move this above here. So I wonder if elastic isn't really what I want. Bounce out. No, I don't like that. Oh, there's the overshoot. I like overshoot. This one's kind of cool. This goes back first and out. Oh, I think I want it to kind of go out instantly. Well, let's try this. And sometimes what I like to do is keep my things I tried before and then like switch back and forth as I figure out which one I like. I think the issue is just like way too slow. So if I make my FPS, so the thing is, let's say I put this at 10, right? It does speed things up. The other thing I could do is increase the decay. So I think it's actually much better to keep this at the intended frames per 60 frames per second that we want, and then just have the decay be bigger. Again, it's basically tripling the original decay. That's nice. Okay. Let's see what it looks like on the radius scale too. And we could have different eases for different properties. Kind of like that. This is where you get into like the synthesizers where they have the little knobs, you know. You could imagine that the knob is twisting one of these parameters. So if we overshoot this by a lot, it kind of just gets much bigger for a second. So yeah, you'd play with the knobs, and then when you hit the keys, it would do these things. So you can imagine this being done to a beat. I don't really love the it only going in one direction. I wonder, I could use a sine value to have it go from 0 to 1. or sorry, -1 to 1. But the other thing is I don't really want to necessarily play with the position like this. What I want to do is either like, what this bounce thing actually does is randomize position of things. So we have the mechanics to do that, trigger something like that. We just need to port over that visualization over here. I think what I'll do is, instead of doing this, I'll have I'm going to do just an ease back. Okay, what I'm thinking was, let's say I want to change the radius with the ease in out here, but I want to change it with a different one here. What I should probably be doing is wrapping this whole thing, and I can probably do this a little bit cleaner. Sorry, the radius here. This should be the ease, or the ease should be there, maybe. So let's try this instead. I'm going to put it here. Oops. The ease can go up here. It doesn't change. I think I do want to pull this line out and then say ease alpha. Oh no, I can't do that. I need to say alpha 0 here. This is going to be, is this going to work? Can I modify? Oh no, you know what I need? I guess I can't have, well, let's try it, right? I was about to do this. Alpha 0 equals ease. Alpha 0. This might get weird. All right. Okay, it gets stuck because the ease is messing with this logic, I think. Yeah. That's interesting. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna choose which one it is. I guess I could say, I could make 2 derived values of radius. So if I say here, let R0 equals ease radius, let R, let's say, ease 1, 2 radius. So one thing I can think of is let R equal, so if whichever one's bigger, if R1 is greater than R2, then do R1, else do R2. So if we hit both at the same time, of course, this needs to be based on the second box. So we're going to change this to be xpos, which we should probably name these things like A, B, and C. And then this is A, B, and these old ones would be A, B, oops, sorry, B, C. So here we'll just say R. If we click this, that is different for sure. What if I do, oh sorry, I want this ease back as ease 2, let's say. Now things are faster, maybe I'll like it again. That's kind of crazy. Let's see if it's I think maybe the amplitude could go back to 1. What about N? That's kind of cool. All right. Very different feeling, but it's not. I think it's. What if I make this bigger? I kind of like this one more. It has like kind of this attack feeling. I'm going to increase the amplitude. Well, and I guess the overshoot. These are pretty different feelings, right? All right. The other thing I wanted to do was make this keyboard driven. So let's see if we can figure that out. This is a very useful page. I'm going to keep it open. It's nice to know that views are mutable values, but let's get some keyboard input. All right, so key up. Let's try that. And we don't need the mutable thing. We just need to say in here an alternative way of doing that inside thing. So we wanted to we need to have focus of the SPG. So yeah, I guess we do SPG is that on key up. Let's do key down actually. Still haven't gotten used to the fat arrow function calls. Even though I used to write CoffeeScript, but I just like typing function, I guess. So the case that it's A, we say this. I think we don't need the break yet. We would do break at the end. And B 0, 1. Do C for good measure. So if we have focus here. And if I hit A or B, let's see. I wonder if I can select window. No. We should also make sure that we're getting the event. Okay, that's because I don't have an event. Great. All right. Where were we getting the event from over here? It's adding the event listener. I think it might be D3. Yes. All right. So D3, and even in version 5, yeah, so I hit B, 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 A, 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 B. Awesome. All right. I think what I'm gonna do, oops, typed A here. I wonder if it's gonna, no, it doesn't do it when I'm in here. That's good. Is actually stop here for this video. Since I got a lot of stuff done, you know, videos, I don't know how much time has passed, but it's been a good bit. So why don't we, yeah, we'll wrap up here with our little button inputs, and I'll make another video where I port over the you know, my graphic here, and making a force simulation restart and happen with the generator. Kind of interesting. And what else? Yeah. Then we can actually play with the colors and the graphic itself. All right. Well, I will see you in the next video.